Have you ever stopped to think about what's really going on in the world just beneath your feet? I mean, it's not just dirt and worms down there. It's this bustling, invisible city where secret conversations are happening all the time. And these conversations, they literally shape our world from the ground up. Today, we're going to decode one of those conversations, and it all kicks off with a smell that you definitely know.
Okay, let's start with something we've all experienced. You know that distinct, fresh, earthy smell that just fills the air right after a good rain? It's one of the most recognizable scents on the entire planet. But what actually is it? I mean, where does it even come from?
Well, the answer is a molecule called geosmin. It's what's known as a volatile organic compound, or VOC for short, which is just a fancy way of saying it's a chemical that easily turns into a gas and travels through the air. And our noses? They are incredibly sensitive to this stuff. But geosmin isn't just floating around by accident, it's being actively cranked out by microscopic life in the soil.
And that brings us to the star of our show today, bacteria from the genus Streptomyces. These little microbes are absolutely everywhere in the soil, and they are basically master chemists. They are the tiny factories pumping out all that geosmin that creates the classic smell of the earth. So, okay, we've established these bacteria can make smells, but that kind of opens up a much more interesting question, right? If they can send chemicals into the air that we can smell from meters away, what else are those chemicals doing? What kind of messages are they actually carrying?
As it turns out, these aren't just pleasant, earthy smells. Nope. They're part of a really sophisticated, invisible chemical arsenal that these bacteria use to wage war on their enemies. Remember those VOCs we talked about, like geosmin? Well, Streptomyces doesn't just make one, it produces a whole cocktail of them. And a lot of these airborne compounds act as incredibly powerful weapons. You can seriously think of it like microscopic chemical warfare. The bacteria just release these chemicals into the air to attack and neutralize threats, especially nasty fungi that are trying to compete for the same food in space.
So, how did scientists figure this out? It was actually a brilliantly simple experiment. They took a petri dish with a divider in the middle. On one side, they put a destructive fungus, the kind that can wipe out crops. In the control dish, that fungus just goes crazy, right? Takes over the whole plate. But in the other dish, they put Streptomyces on the other side of the divider. The two organisms never even touch, but the fungus's growth just stops, dead. The airborne chemicals alone were enough to completely halt the invasion.
And we're not talking about a minor effect here. The research shows just how ridiculously powerful this is. In the lab, the VOCs from one particular strain achieved 100% inhibition of fungal growth. 100%. The fungus literally had zero chance. This is proof that these bacteria are masters of remote, airborne defense.
But the story doesn't stop with warfare. Not at all. This is where things take a really fascinating twist. Because this chemical conversation isn't just about fighting off enemies, it's also about forming a really surprising and powerful alliance. Just think about it for a second. In the soil, plants and Streptomyces are neighbors living side by side. So, if these bacteria are constantly pumping the air full of these chemical signals, what happens when a little plant seedling nearby listens in? Does it just ignore the chatter, or does it actually do something? Well, when scientists exposed seedlings to these bacterial VOCs, something absolutely incredible happened. The plants didn't just survive, they exploded. Compared to the regular plants, the ones that overheard the bacterial conversation, grew way bigger, with more robust leaves and much bigger root systems. These bacterial signals were acting like a super-powered growth fertilizer. And just how powerful are we talking? Well, studies on tobacco seedlings gave us a jaw-dropping number. The plants that were exposed to the VOCs showed a 100% increase in fresh weight. Let that sink in for a minute. The plants literally doubled in size just from breathing in the chemical signals made by their tiny bacterial neighbors. Okay, that is an amazing result. But, of course, it leads to the next huge question. How? How on earth can a simple airborne chemical from a bacterium tell a plant to grow like that? So scientists set out to decode the plant side of this conversation. So they started analyzing that chemical cocktail, and they managed to zero in on some of the key signaling molecules. One of them is a compound called 3-octanone. But here's the even crazier part. They discovered that plants have evolved specific genes to detect and respond to this exact signal. It's like they have a built-in radio receiver that's permanently tuned to the Streptomyces station.
And the name they gave that genetic receiver is, you're going to love this, absolutely fantastic. A direct quote from the research paper identifies the gene family Kiss Me Deadly, KMD, to be an early essential step. You heard me right. The key to this unbelievable growth boost is a family of genes called Kiss Me Deadly. You just can't make this stuff up.
So let's break down how this all works. Step 1, Streptomyces releases that chemical, 3-octanone, into the air. Step 2, the plant cells pick up on this airborne signal. Step 3, that detection flips a switch, activating the Kiss Me Deadly gene family. Step 4, those KMD genes get to work, totally changing the plant's internal balance of growth hormones. And finally, step 5, this hormonal shift tells the plant's cell walls to loosen up and expand, which kicks off a massive boost in overall growth. It's just this beautiful, elegant chain of events, from a bacterial smell to a bigger, healthier plant.
Now, this discovery isn't just some cool biology fact. It has some seriously profound implications for how we feed our planet and take care of our environment. It's showing us that the future of farming might literally be in the air. This research is helping to pioneer a brand new strategy called biofumigation. And the idea is really straightforward. Let's harness these natural, powerful VOCs from beneficial microbes like Streptomyces to do two things at the same time: protect our crops from diseases and turbocharge their growth, all without using a single drop of synthetic chemical pesticides. When you step back, the potential here is just enormous. We're talking about protecting our most vital food crops from devastating fungal diseases. We're talking about boosting plant growth to get more food out of the same amount of land. And we're doing it all while drastically cutting back our reliance on chemical pesticides by creating a whole new generation of completely natural, sustainable farming tools. And that really brings us right back to the beginning. That simple, earthy smell after it rains, it's so much more than just a smell. It's a language of defense, of partnership, and of growth. And by finally learning to speak that language, we might just unlock a better, more sustainable future for all of us. The secret we've been searching for might have been right under our noses this whole time.